Hi guys! Wait, let me just get under the blankets to get comfy. I could have also just like, done this at my table like I usually do my sit down videos, but I was like, let's get comfy for this one because I feel like this video is also definitely gonna be a long one because you guys definitely had a lot of questions about my study abroad experience in Korea. Just to introduce the video properly, hi, welcome back to a new video. As you can tell by the title, yes, I'm doing a Q&A on my study abroad experience in South Korea. If you watch my vlogs, then if you don't, go subscribe. If you watch my videos and my vlogs, then you would know that I'm currently in Korea. I am studying abroad here, and wait, I'm gonna tell you guys all about it just before I spoil this entire video. Wait, am I a bit too far? Wait, hold up. Okay, I think this is better. As you can tell, I got myself a coffee at Compose, not sponsored by the way. I got myself a green tea latte, which is so good. Like, it's just like, it's actually matcha latte, but they just call it green tea. So good. If you go to Korea one day, definitely go to Compose Coffee and get this one. It's so good. And they literally opened one in my street right after I came here, so that's great. Since I have a iced coffee here, I also want to tell you guys to maybe grab a drink, grab yourself coffee, hot or cold, or grab something to snack or anything, because this is going to be a long video. So enough rambling, let's get on with this video. So I have all the questions that you guys sent me on Instagram. I also have some questions from friends back home who just texted me questions while I was talking to them. So I have a bunch here. So like I said, I'm going to be talking about my experience in my first 2 months. Like, can you guys believe that I'm already halfway? It's literally going to be over in 2 months. Like, crazy how time has flown by so fast. So yeah, I'm gonna talk about my experience now so far, and I think once I am back in the Netherlands, then I'll also do an updated Q&A, and then I'll talk about like the entire 4 months, because right now I'm only going to talk about the first 2 months. And I think by the end of the study abroad, maybe certain things have changed, maybe there are more new things I can talk about. So yeah, let's just now go straight through the questions. I tried to organize it like in a sort of like okay order, as in like, everything before I went to Korea, like all the preparations and stuff, and then also things during my stay here as well. I got a bunch of different questions, so let's go. So first we're going to be talking about just the general questions and just everything like sort of pre-Korea, if that makes sense. So the first question is, why did you choose Korea to go study abroad? The thing is, like, I actually didn't choose myself to go to Korea. Well, sort of a yes and no, because just a little bit of background info. I'm currently doing a second bachelor's, which is Korean studies, and yeah, I think it also sort of makes it obvious that when you're doing Korea studies, you also have to go to Korea as part of your like curriculum. So obviously, since I'm doing Korean studies, it made sense for me to go to Korea. But at the same time, for those who don't know, I already have another bachelor, which is Bachelor of Social Work, which I got 4 years ago. And yeah, it's a long story. Like, I do have I think I talked about it in several videos before, and I think I also have a video about my, I also like Q&As about my life at the university as a Korean studies student at Leiden University. So I think I've also explained it there as well. But yeah, this is my second bachelor's, and I really, even like before I started with this second bachelor's, I had a dream for like quite a long time to go to Korea for a longer period and, like do a language course and stuff like that. So I was always very interested in that. At the same time, I was also really interested to do Korean studies, because I know Korean studies at Leiden University was a thing. So, but like back then, when I finished high school, obviously I also didn't have to write diploma to do Korean studies right away. But even back then, I also wasn't really interested in pursuing anything with it. I was like, oh, sounds fun, but like I already knew I wanted to do social work. So I did that, graduated that, done all that. I also went to Korea like 4 years ago, but that was only for like a 2-week holiday. But during the trip, I really realized I think I do really want to do something with Korea, or maybe do Korean studies after all. I don't want to make it too long, because obviously the first question was why I chose Korea to go study abroad. I've always been very interested in Korea. Like, it started like 10 years ago when I first discovered K-pop. I think maybe a lot of people who are interested in Korea got that interest because of either K-pop or K-drama or anything else, So obviously there are also people who are interested in Korea without anything related to the entertainment industry, which is totally fine. Yeah, but then I really had the thought of like, oh, I do want to do Korean studies, but at the same time I was also like, hey, I want to maybe go abroad for a while and do a language course, because I also saw some videos on YouTube of people who went to Korea to do a language course. So yeah, all those ideas just sparked in my head, and then I think in the beginning of 2022 I was like, you know what, let's just go do it. So I sort of semi-quit my job. Well, the project I was working for already came to an end, so at the same time that ended, and I also quit my job. So I decided to quit my job and do Korean studies. And also, like I said, part of the curriculum is also like obviously going study abroad in Korea. So yeah, so it wasn't like that I was doing a bachelor's where I could just choose the destination of my study abroad, which many bachelors have. So yeah, it just made sense, and it was like mandatory to go to Korea. Well, it's not really that mandatory anymore, and there are also like certain conditions you have to pass in order to go. So, but I'm not gonna go into full detail about that. So I did that, and now I'm here. Yeah, that's how I chose Korea, I guess. I sort of chose it, but obviously since part of my curriculum, I am here, and that makes sense. And the next question, which university do you go to? I go to Sogang University, which is in Seoul. Let me mention that, because obviously there are many universities. But yeah, Sogang University is in Seoul. And the next question is, why did you choose Sogang University? Well, I actually didn't choose Sogang University because Sogang University is actually like the partner university of my home university, which is Leiden, like I mentioned before. It was like already like decided that all the students of Korean studies who are gonna study abroad in Korea will be going to Sogang. And yeah, also when we did level 1 and level 2 Korean in Leiden University, we used the Sogang methods, like the learning materials, the books and everything. So I think it also like makes sense in that way, since they are partner universities of each other, that we would all be going to Sogang. And I think I'm actually glad with that, because I think maybe cause a bit more stress as well if we actually had to go find a university ourselves to do a language course. Because the nicest thing about being enrolled at Sogang is obviously, since they are partner universities with Leiden, the application for Sogang just became like sort of easier, because we were applying for Sogang via Leiden University. Not like that you have to apply like obviously like the documents, everything we had to prepare ourselves, but then Leiden sort of helped us with that, about what we had to do, and we could even, I think, skip certain steps because it was already like, you know, determined for us, since Sogang and Leiden do have like certain agreements. Maybe I hope I'm not giving wrong information, but I think that's like how it went. Yeah, so it also made application for Sogang easier, so we didn't have to fully individually apply for Sogang, like, so we just did it via the route Leiden University gave us. The next question is, were you already good in Korean before going to Korea? Well, I wouldn't, yeah, good. I'm definitely not fluent, but yeah, I did already have sort of a Korean proficiency. Like I mentioned before, I already did level 1 and 2 at Leiden University. I definitely need to drink, because I think my throat is gonna be very dry because of all the talking. I hope this lighting is good, by the way. Like, I'm not using a ring light or anything, so I hope this is okay. Not that I'm gonna watch back the video later whilst editing and that I absolutely hate the lighting. I'm so sorry. But yeah, I already knew some basic Korean before going to Korea, so that's nice. And then the next question is, in what level are you? Since I've done level 1 and 2, I'm currently in level 3. It was actually also a requirement for the curriculum of Leiden University that we had to do level 3 at Sogang while studying abroad. Because like I mentioned before, we already did level 1 and 2 in our first year. So we had to do level 3, but, and that goes on with the next question, how did you prepare for your placement test? If you watch my first or my second Korea vlog, like I think I mentioned it in both, every person who enrolls at a Korean university to a Korean language course has to do a level placement test. Like obviously if you don't have any knowledge of Korean, then you be automatically placed in level 1, but if you already have a sort of Korean proficiency and you don't feel like starting from level 1, then you can always go and do a placement test, and then they'll determine which level you get in. So even though we already did level 1 and 2 at Leiden University with the Sogang method and everything, we all still had to go through a placement test, which was like very annoying, and it was very nerve-wracking, I can tell you guys. But yeah, how I prepared for it. I first of all want to give a huge shout out to this person who actually posted on Reddit. I hope I can find the article still and leave it down below, because I found this article on Reddit of a girl. I believe it is a girl. I'm sorry if I mispronounced them, or I'm just gonna use they them for now. I'm so sorry. But okay, so there was this one person wrote exactly how their placement test was at Sogang, even though the post is like 5 years old. All the information in it is still like quite accurate. I think the only difference is that everything we had to do online. I think when COVID hit, they switched everything online, and they still kept it. I think lots of universities are still doing all their level placement tests online. So, but back then that person had to do it in person because it was during pre-COVID. But the person definitely wrote down everything perfectly, like how it went and what you could expect. And so I'm also gonna tell a little bit about that as well. But if you wanna know everything how it went at Sogang, then definitely check out the Reddit post of that person, which I'll have linked in the description. So yeah, but that post definitely also really helped me and also my other uni mates to prepare for the placement test, because we also didn't have like a lot of information on the placement test from Leiden University, because they all told us it was just going to be an interview, but apparently there was also a writing test beforehand. So we first had to do a writing test, and I think the all-round advice I can give on like preparing for a placement test, and that's what the person in the Reddit post also said, make sure you know all the grammar, the vocab, all of it from the level below the one you're aiming for. So obviously I was aiming for level 3, so I had to make sure I knew everything from level 1 and 2. Also mainly level 2, because if they felt like I wasn't using level 2 grammar and stuff well enough, then I would have been placed at level 2, and then it would also get me in trouble for Leiden University because we had to do level 3. To be honest, I did all the preparation while I was in Korea. I did tell myself I'm gonna go, you know, catch up on my Korean during the summer break. Well, that failed whilst I was in Korea. Yeah, and also for the interview, like it was a speaking interview. So in that interview, the teacher is just gonna ask you questions, and based on how you answer them, like obviously the first questions are like very easy because it's like introduce yourself and like just very basic questions. And if they feel like you answered them quite well, then they'll obviously make the questions a bit more difficult, maybe using a bit more difficult grammar, just to check if you already like know those. And if they feel like you had like difficulty answer them, like there's no right or wrong actually, so they basically like determine based on the answers you give and stuff in what level you need to be placed in. Yeah, and like we actually also did interviews as part of our exams at Leiden University at level 1 and 2, and I still had like the model questions of those interviews, so I also like just prepared those. Also mainly from the level 2, because I want to make sure that I use level 2 grammar and vocab as much as possible. Yeah, so I prepared that just by writing down the potential answers I could give, and I was also like practicing with my friends because we all had to go through the same thing. And then with the writing test, like the person in the Reddit post completely explained how the writing test went, and it was basically exactly the same as us. So there were like 3 topics. One was like a beginner's topic, the one was the intermediate, and one was more advanced. I honestly think the writing test definitely saved me for getting to level 3, because I really felt like at the interview was like, I was so nervous. Yeah, so that's actually how I prepared for my placement test. How did you mentally prepare to be away for such a long period? To be very honest, I didn't really mentally prepare for that. Like, I know some people definitely need like a lot of mental preparations for things like that, but I think at the same time I was just like very excited to go, because it was like something I dreamed of for a very long time. So I think I was just mainly more excited, counting down the days until I was going. So mentally, yeah, I didn't do that much. I was just very excited to be here. If it wasn't Korea, where else would you go to study abroad? Well, like I mentioned, since I'm doing Korean studies, I had to go to Korea. But I think I can make this question like, what other country I would like to study abroad maybe? I thought about that, and I'm actually not sure. Like, okay, I did sort of think about like maybe Japan would be fun, but the thing is like I know zero Japanese, and I think I would definitely be interested in doing a Japanese language course as well. So I think I would also maybe like to do that one day, just maybe go to Japan and follow like a basic level 1 Japanese language course. So I think that would be fun. So I think if I had to choose another country, it maybe will be Japan, because I'm also like really interested in Japanese culture and stuff like that. How much do you have to save to live as an exchange student in South Korea? I really like this question. So it first of all like depends on how long you'll be studying abroad. Like I'm here for 4 months. I would say if you're gonna stay here for like 4 months and do 1 semester here, I would say maybe, I think the best would be 5.5K, maybe 6K is even better, but I would definitely say at least 5.5K. Obviously you have the things like, you know, rent for your accommodation where you'll be staying, also you need to eat, and you obviously do want to have money to do fun stuff as well. Maybe you want to also do some traveling like within Korea or maybe outside Korea while you're here. So I would definitely say 5.5K. It was even a requirement of Sogang University to show a bank statement that you have at least 5K dollars on your bank account. Yeah, I would definitely say at least have at least 5.5K with you before you go to Korea. 6K is even better, but definitely aim for 5.5K. Euros, dollars, whatever. Like, how long was the travel? We flew from like Amsterdam to Seoul. Like, I think only the plane ride was already 11 and a half hours. I think in total it was maybe like 20 hours ish, almost 24. Yeah, I think it was something like 20 hours in total. So how did you feel arriving in Korea? To be honest, when I arrived here, it didn't hit me like, oh my god, I'm in Korea, like right away. Someone is coughing outside. It happens a lot in my neighborhood, to be honest, so I'm sort of used by the sounds. But it's just when I arrived here, it just felt some way very natural for me to be here. Also the first few weeks when I'm home, like definitely the first week or two, when I was home, I even then like didn't realize that I was in Korea. But then I was, you know, walking outside, you see hunger everywhere around you, you see Koreans, you see then you see like you're in Korea. And I think it also had to do with the fact that I was already here before, like 4 years ago. It maybe sounds weird that I wasn't like excited. Like obviously I was excited. It wasn't like, oh my god, I'm in Korea. Like, do you miss anyone back home? I got questions like this a lot. Like, honestly, if you would ask me this question like 2 weeks after I arrived in Korea, then I would say no, which maybe sounds very awful. But I don't know, I was just feeling, I don't know what it was, but like obviously obviously I like, you know, have contact with my family and my friends from back home. Now since I'm here for like 2 months, I do have to say yes, I definitely miss people back home. I sometimes also just literally miss the Netherlands in general, but do I miss it like a lot and do I want to go back ASAP? No, definitely not. But I definitely miss I miss my friends, I miss my family sometimes, and also when I see certain things of my family or my friends in the Netherlands, then it just, you know, it also sort of gives me like a sort of nostalgia. Do you need a visa to enter Korea? Well, obviously if you're just going on for holiday, then no. If you're gonna stay in Korea for less than 90 days, then you do not need a visa. Well, it can be different per country, so definitely check what the requirements are for your country. Since I will be studying here for 4 months, I definitely needed a visa. So I'm currently on a D2 visa. I will check later and I'll put it in the description. I'll put it on the screen if I'm mistaken, but I believe I'm on a D2 visa, which is a student visa because I'm studying at Sogang, obviously, like the Korean language course, so I'm on a student visa. But I believe like even if you would do a Korean language course but you'll be staying for less than 90 days, then I believe you don't need it. How was it like to book the plane tickets and to find accommodation? Okay, I would say that finding accommodation was like a bit more harder than plane tickets. Like, I think it makes sense that plane tickets are like quite easier to get than find accommodation. So first of all, plane tickets. So first, me and my 2 friends who I'm also currently living with. Obviously, it had to make sense that we were all going to travel on the same day. Yeah, that was actually, we definitely got together for that. Well, we got together on call instead of like physically meeting each other to do things like that. It was actually pretty easy to book the plane tickets. Obviously, before we checked like what the prices were and stuff like that, so we wanted to make sure we booked on the right time. We also all had to agree on what day we were going and on what day we were going back to the Netherlands. So yeah, we got that out of the way. Tickets was like pretty easy. Find accommodation. So first, okay, so me and my 2 friends, we all agreed like that we didn't want to go into the dormitories at Sogang University. We heard stories from like previous Korea study students who went to Korea and they rented an Airbnb together with their friends. So we were like, okay, let's go find an Airbnb. It was quite a lot harder than we thought. Yeah, like it all went like pretty okay, but it definitely was a lot more preparation than we thought. Did you have a direct flight or transfer, and what would you recommend? Well, me and my friends, we had a direct flight. There are some people who actually got a transfer, and I totally understand that people would pick a transfer because transfer is definitely cheaper than a direct flight, but we really didn't want that, and we decided just to take the direct flight, which I actually would recommend more, but I obviously get it that if you don't have the money for a direct flight and the cheaper option is better, then go opt for a transfer. Yeah, but we just went for direct flight, and it also saved like travel time as well. So where in Seoul do you live? Obviously, yeah, I can obviously like tell where I live, but not in complete details, because you know, I'm still scared that people will find out where I live, and I also want to, you know, don't want to jeopardize the privacy of my roommates as well. So I live in the Mapogu district, like quite on the east side, like almost close of the border of Yongsan. I also want to talk a little bit how we traveled from the airport to our accommodation, because I didn't get any questions from it directly, but I think it's like important to mention it. Obviously, a lot of people, like I know that some people who are interested in studying abroad in Korea, or like traveling to Korea in general, are always like very curious, like, oh, what's the best way to go from the airport to Seoul, because obviously the airport is not in Seoul, it's in Incheon. You land at Incheon airport, and then there are many ways to go to Seoul. You can take the train, you can take the bus, you can take a taxi. What me and my friends did, we actually booked a taxi beforehand. So we booked like this big taxi van where all our suitcases would fit in as well. We paid a price for that, so it was very great to already have that reserved, and not that we would go with the full hustle of, like, you know, trying to find something there. I would definitely recommend to reserve a taxi van. I also like this question. Do you speak English or Korean when you talk to Koreans, like for example in restaurants or shops? I actually do. Also just, you know, to practice my Korean, and it was also like recommended to me that when I arrive in Korea to like start speaking Korean like right away. But for some things, like for example like my hair appointments, or when I'm getting my nails done or my facial, then I actually do like to speak English, because my Korean is definitely not that good enough to understand all those things. And that's why I also like to aim for like salons or shops that are English speaking friendly, or that the staff is like good at English, you know, or that there's a lot of like foreign customers. So, but like when I go to restaurants or like, you know, a shop or anything, then, or to a convenience store, then I do speak in Korean. Yeah, so like I mentioned, my Korean is definitely not fluent. I'm currently in level 3, so I do speak like quite basic Korean. I know like how to find my way and stuff, and like ordering in restaurants, like I mentioned before, I know all of that in Korean. How is your university there? I do have to say Sogang is very fun, even though like in Leiden University I had the Sogang method and stuff like that. I really feel like Leiden University was definitely different in teaching us Korean compared to Sogang. I do honestly feel like Sogang is like more focused on like, you know, memorizing things, if that makes sense, instead of like actually like practicing. Like, don't get me wrong, we definitely do practice in class and stuff, and I don't think I mentioned this, but yeah, like our classes, we have it from Monday to Friday from 9 to 1 every day. So you basically have 20 hours a week fully intense Korean. Like, since I'm in level 3, even the classes are fully in Korean. But yeah, also like about the university, it's very fun. I like where it is. The campus is also very pretty. So yeah, I'm actually very happy with Sogang. I think it's a very nice school. Well, no one asked this question, but I'm just gonna also talk about it anyway, like about study material. At Sogang University, we have like this like bookstore, and then you can buy your study materials there, so that's very good. Okay, this is gonna be like a bit more general questions, so not very about like university, but just my life in Korea. Someone asked, do you get homesick? Like I mentioned before, like sometimes I definitely do miss my friends and family from back home. I definitely do not get homesick. It used to be very bad when I was a little kid, like even when we went to camp for like 5 days in 6th grade in elementary school, I would literally cry and say I want to go home. Or even if we went on holiday, like I couldn't stand a 2-week holiday at a sunny destination, and I already wanted to go home. So I don't know what changed like the past 10-15 years, but I'm definitely not homesick. And I also mentioned it before, like being in Korea just feels so natural to me, so as if I had to be here, as if I'm like at the place where I really belong. It maybe sounds weird, but I definitely do really feel like it's very natural for me to be here, and I really had to be here. And yeah, even though I do miss my family and friends, I'm I'm not homesick at all. Like, no, I actually really like it. I really like it here. I live literally living my best life here. So someone asked, did you make new friends? Okay, so I think I also talked about it in another video. I'm not quite sure, but to be honest, like, I am literally the worst when it comes to making friends. Even though I'm very social and I have like quite a nice circle of friends, I do really find it hard to make friends. And I actually was on Reddit last night to see if people struggle with the same, because like, to be honest, the past couple of days I really wasn't feeling well mentally, and so I went on Reddit like to check if like study abroad depression is like a thing. Looking at the post, it is definitely a thing, and a lot of people definitely go through the same. It maybe does not look like it, because like when I look at my other friends, like I'm very glad for them. They made like friends here, like, even with their classmates at Sogang, or like just, you know, making friends with Korean people. Like, I'm very glad for them. But to be honest, for me, like, I really haven't made any new friends here yet. Like, but I also didn't came here with the thought like, oh, I'm definitely gonna make a lot of friends here. Just like what I had like Leiden University, like it just happened. So, but I really did realize that like it's definitely not that easy. And I do really want to, like, you know, maybe try to get to meet new people whilst I'm here. Like, don't get me wrong, I already met like nice people. I already also really like my classmates at Sogang. So yeah, I really do like my classmates. I also met some other people, also other Sogang students like Koreans and other exchange students like at certain activities, which they sometimes do for exchange students. So I did meet some people and also some Koreans, but I think just haven't been to a level yet like, oh, let's go do something, or like, you know, want to hang out. And after reading those Reddit posts, because a lot of people who gave advice on those people also said like try to go to certain activities, or maybe pick up a hobby and meet some people there. Like, I think I'll go try that. Everyone can experience study abroad differently. Some have the best times of their life, and some people just find it very hard to do so. Someone asked, can you be in Korea without speaking any Korean? I do have to say, if you don't know any Korean, but you know English, then I think you can definitely like get away with it in Korea. Someone asked, what are my favorite snacks here? Which I think is also funny to answer. Oh, I definitely have to say cheese corn dog. They have a stand in my street where they sell cheese corn dogs, which is amazing. So, ooh, maybe I should get later. Someone asked, do you have plans to stay longer? Maybe I will give an update about it in the future. I'm not sure, but like, I do have been contemplating for a very long time to definitely stay here a lot longer. Even before I left my country for Korea, like, I was literally intending on maybe staying longer than my study abroad plan, but that would mean that I do have to drop out of uni in the Netherlands. Yeah, it's just a lot, and I think I also mentioned about it in different videos, how I wasn't even sure if I would finish the full 3 years of my course, because like I mentioned, I already have another bachelor's degree. Yeah, but we're just gonna see. I'm also at the same time living day by day, but at the same time I do feel like I do have to make a decision on what it's going to be. How is living with your friends? Yeah, I do have to say I actually really like it, because I know like lots of people do have like their doubts about living with your close friends in a house, but I do have to say it's going very well. We set up like house rules, we communicate with each other. And also the next question is, did living together affect your friendship? I would have to say not really. Obviously it's like, since we're all in Korea, obviously it's a little bit different compared to back at Leiden University, where you would only like see each other at school and then just go home, back to your own home, and then you would see each other the next day at uni. But now it's like different since we live under the same roof. But yeah, we even have moments where we sometimes like don't see each other the entire weekend, like, or we only see each other at school, but like for the rest we really don't see each other, because either we're not home, or one of us not home, or we're only in our rooms. Yeah, I wouldn't say it definitely didn't affect our friendship negatively, which I hope it will stay like that. Can you work while you study there? Well, if you're on a student visa, I heard, because I actually did my research on it last time, like, you can only work with a student's visa if you actually get permission from the immigration office. So don't go find for a job and just work whilst you're on a student visa without permission from the immigration office, because you'll definitely be deported if they find out. So like, the general answer is like, no, you cannot work there on a student visa. If you want to work in Korea, you definitely need a work visa or a working holiday visa or anything work related. But if you want to work while you're on a student visa, then you do need permission from the immigration office. When are you going back home? I'll be staying here until the 4th of January. But as I also mentioned, I have plans to stay longer. So, but I was also considering like if I stay longer, would I still go back to the Netherlands for a little while? And I think I most likely would. So I'm definitely still going back on the 4th of January. Have you tried dating in Korea? Well, no, I haven't, and I'm not planning on it either. I just want to say I definitely didn't come here to find myself like a Korean boyfriend or anything like that, or like to date around. I'm just living here. I'm just living my best life, and if I would meet someone, it would be great, but I'm not looking for it. I also haven't downloaded any dating apps or anything, so I'm not even going to try dating in Korea. Well, don't get me wrong, like I mentioned before, if I would meet someone, it would be great. Yeah, I heard dating stories about Korean men, and yeah, I would not recommend. Is it hard to shop for clothes there? That's actually a pretty good question. Because obviously when we talk about the Korean beauty standard, most Koreans are like quite thin, and most shops I went to had only like one size clothing. I think if you're like quite a bit like bigger, like as in body size, then it is maybe going to be a bit difficult, but at the same time it's not impossible. I think there's definitely clothes out there, because they also have like, you know, H&M and Bershka and all those international brands. They do have that in Korea as well, so I think then it will be easier to find like clothes like any size. For me personally, I haven't had any trouble yet with like finding clothes, even though I'm definitely not the skinniest. I'm definitely not Korean skinny. The clothes I found here so far, they do fit pretty alright, so that's great. I haven't bought any pants or skirts yet, so I don't want to say anything about that yet. I think pants and skirts will be more difficult for me, because I do have like pretty sort of broad hips. I'm also like a bit more bustier from the front, so yeah, like it can sometimes be difficult, but like with tops, for up until now I've been fine with that. But I think pants and skirts are going to be difficult if it's only going to be one size. Do you think you'll have a culture shock when you go back home? I think that's an interesting question. Like maybe I will, because obviously like reverse culture shock is definitely a thing, I heard. So I think once I'm back in the Netherlands, obviously things are going to be like maybe pretty crazy, and then I have to readjust to the Netherlands again. I definitely do see that happen, because I'm obviously so used to my life in Korea right now. One thing I'm going to definitely be shocked about is how expensive things are in the Netherlands, and the fact that inflation is currently a thing doesn't help either. So I really love how lots of things are cheap here in Korea. So how do you deal with down days? Well, to be honest, like I mentioned before, the past few weeks, days haven't been really well with me mentally. And how I deal with that? Yeah, I just let my emotions out, if that makes sense. Like if I want to feel down and vent and cry and everything, I just let it. But I think it's also important to not stay too long in that like depressed mindset. I definitely had moments like that a couple of days ago, but you will see all about it in my next vlog. I've been vlogging the past few days even though I wasn't feeling well. Just also to be realistic, and also like to show you guys that not every day in Korea is like rainbows and unicorns. So that vlog was actually supposed to be up before this video, but yeah, like I haven't gotten to it, so you'll see all about that in the next vlog. Did you consider another city to study in apart from Seoul? So obviously it's also like possible to study abroad in other cities, like for example in Busan or like in Ansan. I also heard people study abroad there instead. I didn't actually consider any other city. I'm actually very content with Seoul, and if I would choose again, I would definitely choose Seoul. Because I'm not saying that other cities are like boring or anything. Look, I cannot make a judgment about that because I haven't studied in those other cities, so I can't say how it's like. Yeah, I'm actually very happy with Seoul, and if I would study abroad again in Korea, definitely Seoul. Maybe Busan would also be cool, or like Daegu, because I've been to Daegu and it's very, very nice. But I think my heart mostly belongs in Seoul, I feel like. So that was it for all the questions. My throat is very, very dry. I finished my coffee, and my phone is actually 3%, so it's actually good that I finished filming this video now. I also have online class in an hour, so I'm actually glad that I managed to finish this well. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and of course subscribe. And yeah, I'll also be filming a update Q&A on my study abroad experience once I'm back from the Netherlands, just to tell you guys everything about the full experience. So yeah, that's going to be when I'm back. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time in a new video. Bye bye.